Creativity does not always flow freely, as we all know, but getting unstuck can be hard. So today I wanted to share with you 5 tips and tricks to help you to get unstuck as you work through your art or junk journal page, and you can watch me as I use some of them on this page today, so you can kind of see it in action. Getting started can often be a sticking point, and it could be glib of me to say, well, just get started, but often that is all you really need to do. So let me share some of the ways that I get myself started, and hopefully they'll help you too. So some of the ways that I do this are to just start on a page that already has something on it. Can't tell you how that sort of just cuts through some of the noise and gets you straight onto it and straight onto working. Like this junk journal page, which has some colour on it already. In fact, having a junk journal can be a great way of getting you started because you kind of don't care about the paper. It's not a problem to mess it up, so you've already got rid of that fear, whatever might be stopping you from getting started. When I am starting from a blank page, one of the things I will do is I'll just put some colour down. Just immediately put some colour down, or maybe add some collage, something just completely random and not worry about how it looks, and then immediately I no longer have a blank page and I can keep on going. Random marks are a great way to get you started. It's almost like the action of just doing is what will pull you through. So concentrate on the doing and not the thinking about doing. It takes a bit of practice. It sounds a lot easier, but it does take a bit of practice. Just keep practicing it. And if you are still having problems getting started, then I have some warm-up exercises here on my channel, so go watch those and hopefully they'll get you in the mood to just get working. So we can often find ourselves doing the same thing again and again, and maybe we start getting a little bit fearful about branching out and trying something new. Like, you know, some marks are going to work really well on your piece, but maybe there's a new pattern you want to try, but you're kind of a bit wary about it. Okay, so for those situations, repeat after me. It's just paper. And you have nothing to lose. Try and remember those. It is just paper, and you don't have anything to lose by just giving it a go. Whenever you get to one of those points where you're not sure which direction to go, you think, well, I could put those dots on, but I always use dots. Take a few deep breaths, then just do something different on your page. Add a shape you don't usually use, or one that you haven't used for ages. Add a mark, or use a material that you don't usually use. Maybe it's a colour. It doesn't have to be complicated. But just let yourself be open to doing something different and not worrying about whether it's going to work or not. So this next tip follows on perfectly after the last tip. Something doesn't work, right? Like this pen here, it's just not working for me. The pen texture is too scratchy and yeah, I just don't like it. Don't let it get you down, don't let it put you off progressing. And sometimes maybe this is a few layers that haven't worked for you and you're starting to think, hey, where's this going to go? I might as well just stop doing it. Just remember that you can always cover it up. You can always collage over it. You can always add more paint. Trust your own judgment and have confidence in your ability to make the piece work. It's a trial and error, troubleshooting situation. Sometimes you'll get it perfectly right, sometimes you won't, and it really doesn't matter, but each time you learn something new from it. So try letting the piece sit for a while, let it be as it wants to be, the rubbish bit included. There's no harm letting it sit there for a while, whilst maybe you work on a different part of the piece. Maybe as you move on it just becomes texture, or maybe you can even use it as a feature in some way or tweak it in some way. Turn it into something else. When something doesn't work or doesn't go the way that you thought it would or how you had imagined it, just remember that you have some options and don't just cancel the piece straight away. As you sit with mistakes and then experiment with saving them, you build up a creative toolbox to help you with the next time something happens that you're not as happy with. It's just all part of the process. So you might be working on a piece like this one where there's a lot of layers, but it doesn't seem to be resolving. And you've been happily adding these layers, but just nothing seems to be jumping out at you. If that was your intention with the piece, then that's absolutely fine because, you know, that's part of the course. But sometimes you feel like a piece needs to get to a point. You know what I mean? But it's giving you no clues as to what that point actually is, and you could probably just keep on adding layers to it. And it might be time to step away and take a break and come back to it. And really ask yourself if it does need something else, or if actually it might be finished and you just needed to give yourself some space to see that it was finished. If it does still seem to need something more, then ask yourself if it just needs a few finishing touches, or in fact you need to actually change direction with the piece dramatically. And I went with dramatic for my piece today, and often for me that is bringing in some dark pen doodling, like these outlines. But the outlines are going to bring a different element to the piece, bring it all together as well to form one whole piece, as there's now a common link that flows across the page. And I could probably just stop there, but you'll see, I didn't. But anyway, different tricks work for different pieces and will really depend on what kind of style and theme you like to work with to make your art unique to you. So don't be afraid to play and experiment when you get to this point. Remember back to the tips 3 and tip 2 for that matter. You can always cover it up and it's only paper, unless you're working on a canvas. In that case, it's only canvas. You can cover that up as well. Now I did go with a focal image for this piece to finish it off. I liked the way the page was working, but I wanted to keep it going, so I went with a focal collage and picked one that had a lot of the same colours that were already in the background. I don't know, these two pieces were just that flower and this background were just sort of kind of speaking to me. And the flower is from one of my art pack downloads from my Digi Delightful patrons and my Video Fanatic patrons. And you can still grab it over on my Patreon page if you aren't already a member. I have new downloads and videos exclusive for my patrons every month. And of course you'll find a link in the description of this video if you want to go and find out some more. But as this is a very similar colour way for these two things, I want it to stand out from the background. So one way I'm going to make it stand out from the background is to add a layer of paint down first. Some people like to use gesso to quieten down backgrounds. I tend to go for thinned out paint, and this is vanilla colour is one of my favourite colours to add to pieces at the moment. So I'm adding that and then feathering out at the edges with my fingers. And then the splatters of the same colour will hopefully harmonise across the background a little bit more. And another way that I made this piece pop out and added some more texture as well was just some more collage, this time with some old book pages. But once all that collage and paint is down, well, it just kind of looks plonked on the background. So there's lots of ways you can make that unplonked, make it look like it should be there as part of the whole piece. So the way I'm going to do that is to bring out an element for the background and match it with something from my focal image and make a feature of it. You're kind of connecting these two elements. And that hopefully will harmonise the whole page. And the way I'm going to do it is get that black pen working for me again. There was a lot of black pen marking in the background. There are also dots on the flower image. So I'm going to use my black pen. You can see me dotting around my flower. And it seems like a good way of getting the two textures, the background and the foreground, to sort of work together. Then a little bit of paint splattering, and that should hopefully settle this whole piece down. Some days art flows well, and some days it just needs a helping hand. I hope that your art is flowing well at the moment, but if you do need some more help getting it to flow, getting it moving, getting yourself creating, then I do have prompt videos where we art together using prompts to keep us moving and keep us creating. That video playlist is here, so go watch that next and have fun creating, and thank you for watching. I'll catch you later, art maker.